So in the last video I touched on the game that we're going to be further developing, and in this one we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. For game devs, it's a style guide or a holy document that keeps everything and everyone on track, the game design document. Now, there are great videos on what and why game design documents should be a practice used for most game developers, especially indies, and you should go watch those videos. In this one, I'll be going through my game's design document to show that I too mean serious business. Okay, so we're gonna start with the game summary. In this on-rails VR arcade shooter, inspired by classics like Gradius, you play as a space-faring cat pilot navigating a colony ship called Gaia through a treacherous galaxy. With the help of cat mech pilots, you'll battle alien and robotic threats to secure a new home for your feline colony. The main game inspiration is Gradius 3 on the various consoles and systems that I've played along the way, I guess. Along with Galaga arcade machines, pretty much any shmup that I would find. That being said, I'm not a super fan. I still have a lot to learn and I really haven't played any of the modern ones. The player experience or main loop is essentially the player starts a level, moves along the rails through a course of obstacles, enemies, mines, and other things. Along the way, the player shoots enemies with their mech, maybe getting a power-up or losing a mech along the way. After surviving the course or the level, the player encounters a final enemy or the boss to challenge the player's skills. After destroying all the boss's cores, the level ends, the score is tallied, and the player moves on to the next level. The intended platforms that I plan on releasing this game on is Steam and then the MetaQuest store, but I don't plan on uploading a playable build to the Meta store until it's at a much more polished state. I guess the same with the Steam one. The genre is a fast-paced static arcade shmup, and what I mean by static is it's not procedural, and the player could easily just memorize all the positions of the enemy and such. The target audience that the game is targeting is casual players with a fun or who are looking for a fun arcade-like experience where there may be some challenge but nothing like an extra continue or two can't do. I want to try and target the achievement hunters by doing some interesting achievements, especially with VR. I feel like the room for Easter eggs is almost infinite. And I also want to try and get the competitive high score people by just setting up a basic scoreboard for everybody to compete with. Now for the gameplay. The player controls a cat mech fighter by moving the VR controller, as in its track, to the player's hand. It's through this that the player dodges incoming obstructions, enemy fire, and more. True to the shmup genre, as far as I know, there's no health, and it's just a single shot destroyed, explodes in one shot basically. Unless you have a shield, one shot, you're dead. The other main mechanic is the boss core, as in you have to shoot them down to beat the boss, and that's gonna be true for all bosses. Sometimes they'll be out of reach, but you should be able to shoot them all down. For secondary mechanics, on random times the enemy can drop a power-up, which will be able to be grabbed at a distance by pointing with either of your VR controller hand and pulling the grip, not the shoot trigger. The possible power-ups so far are just a damage power-up and a single shot shield for the player. Alright, we're on to the art aspect of the game. The aesthetic that I'm going to be going for is something bright and arcadey, light-hearted and casual, so no hardcore realism that Gradius goes for, I guess. I'm going to be using a color palette called Chelsea32 from lowspec.com to try achieve more of the cohesive, soft, casual Nintendo-y look. For the moment, everything's using the single texture, and so I don't have to worry about UV mapping. But in the event that I do have the time or funds to texture them or have them textured, I would like to go for that block bench. As for the music and sound effect style, I'm gonna go for the Konami style, but with breakcore genre music. So it's kind of like a Dreamcast slash Sega Genesis arcade sound. I'm not. We'll see how that goes. Now, as far as the total game experience, for the demo have 4 levels. Like, I'll probably end up publishing the game with only 4 or 5 levels onto Steam. But in the event that I want to go even further, I have 10 levels planned, and I want it to be like Star Fox styled level selection, where if you maybe shoot down a bonus enemy or break down a certain building or path in time before you go past it, you go down that level where it's like a different alternate route. Lastly, for this video, on the UI section of the design document, it's really just going to be the pause screen, which will be toggled, and the offhand UI. So like the hand that doesn't hold the cat mech will be showing the score and how many pilots you have left. Now on most game design documents, you would have a development timeline where you would list off exactly the dates and deadlines of when you want to finish things. But I'll be honest, I have been writing the scripts for these videos instead of doing that, so I'll get back on that. So that's Night of Gaia's design document in a nutshell. Now, whenever I stare down a powered down VR headset, wondering why I'm even bothering making a game, I can look back on this video and design document to keep me centered and have a clear view of the light at the end of this tunnel, because it's all too easy to lose sight. Next time, we'll get started on drawing the concept art for level 2. So far I've been working with programmer art, like basic shapes and things. But when I think about modeling the enemies or asking a would-be collaborator what I want in a boss design, I should at least have an idea or doodle. If that sounds interesting, then tune in next time.